The first thing you should know about Wen Jiabao is that he is quite different from other Chinese leaders of the modern era. In China, his people have a nickname for him, Grandpa Wen. After this year's disastrous earthquake in Sichuan, he flew immediately to the devastated area, went out among the people to comfort them, met with many individually. He's more like an American politician than a Chinese apparatchik. He is also, of course, an agile politician inside the labyrinthine ranks of his own party. A geologist by training, he manages to push reform through without alienating his conservative opponents. There were some conditions to my interview with Premier Wen. My condition was that I be allowed to ask any questions I wished, which the Chinese accepted. One of theirs was that I not comment on or characterize the substance of the interview. So I won't, except to say that I thought it was the most open and frank conversation I had ever seen or read with a Chinese leader.
我还想跟你说一句。
Before we begin,
我一定
I'd like to let you know that I will use the words from the bottom of my heart
我讲的话
to answer your question, which means that I will tell the truth to all your questions.
I look forward to the chance for this dialogue, and I begin by thanking you for giving us the opportunity and the honor. The first thing I have to ask you, I think, is on many people's minds. What do you think of the current financial crisis affecting the United States? And does it make you think that the American model has many flaws in it that we are just recognizing now?
系统性的问题。
The crisis that occurred in the United States may have an impact that will affect the whole world.
美国发生的危机，
Nonetheless, in face of such a crisis, we must also be aware that today's world is different from the world that people lived in back in the 1930s.
现在的世界与30年代不同。
So this time, we should join hands and meet the crisis together.
共同应对这场危机，因为
If the financial and economic system in the United States go wrong,
它所带来的影响
then the impact will be felt not only in this country, but also in China, in Asia, and the world at large.
中国、亚洲，我已经高度地
I have noted the host of policies and measures adopted by the U.S. government
为了使局部危机
to prevent an isolated crisis from becoming a systematic one, and I hope that the measures and steps that they have adopted will pay off.
Do you think you can continue to grow if the United States goes into a major recession?
应该说，如果美国经济出现衰退，
A possible U.S. economic recession will certainly have an impact on the Chinese
因
economy.
为中美之间的贸易，
As we know that 10 years ago, the China-U.S. trade volume stood at only 102.6 billion U.S. dollars, while today the figure soared to 302 billion U.S. dollars, actually representing an increase of 1.5-fold.
如果美国
A shrinking of U.S. demand will certainly have an impact on China's export.
另外，美国的资金
And the U.S. finance is closely connected with the Chinese finance.
美国的金融
If anything goes wrong in the U.S. financial sector, then we are anxious about the safety and security of Chinese capital.
这也就是我开始说的。
That's why at the very beginning I have made it clear that the financial problems in this country not only concerns the interest of the United States, but also that of China and the world at large.
There is another sense in which we are interdependent. China is the largest holder of U.S. Treasury bills. By some accounts, you hold almost $1 trillion of it. It makes some Americans uneasy. Can you reassure them that China would never use this status as a weapon in some form?
我认为美国的实体经济
As I said, that we believe that the U.S. real economy is still solidly based, particularly in the high-tech industries and the basic industries. Now, something has gone wrong in the virtual economy, but if this problem is properly addressed, then it is still possible to stabilize the economy in this country. The Chinese government hopes very much that the U.S. side will be able to stabilize its economy and finance as quickly as possible. And we also hope to see sustained development in the United States, as that will benefit China.
我们当然关心自己资金的安全。
Of course, we are concerned about the safety and security of Chinese money here, but we believe that the United States is a credible country, and particularly at such difficult times, China has reached out to the United States. And actually, we believe such a helping hand will help stabilize the entire global economy and finance, and to prevent a major chaos from occurring in the global economic and financial system. I believe now cooperation is everything.
Premier, when your country has grown, as you pointed out, 9.5% for 30 years, fastest growth rate of any country in history. If people come to you and say to you, what is the Chinese model of succeeding as a developing country? What would you say what is the key to your success? What is the model?
改革开放极大。
By introducing reform and opening up, we have greatly emancipated productivity in China.
我们一个重要的观点。
We have one important thought, that socialism can also practice market economy.